Annexes for the video The Messianic Era is Upon Us. The contents in this video. In 1928, a new era began for mankind and, more important, for women's equality. This year marked a huge step forward in human history when men began to create things that our forefathers would not believe possible, when man looked upon himself as a creator. So when did one of man's steps become a giant leap? It certainly began well before we reached the moon. We first put up a transportation balloon and other airfield craft in the air. Next, we put up a plane, after we began to travel in planes and later used them as weapons of war. There is no doubt that 1920s changed the world. We can speculate which event was the most significant. However, the codes suggest that the Hebrew year that covers 1927 to 1928 is the most significant. Women have made a huge stride in 1928 to become equal to men, while men took a huge step to dominate the sky. It was written thousands of years ago that at the end of days, women will be equal to men. We are not there yet, but we are getting closer all the time. There is evidence in the main metrics that year 1928 can be looked upon as the beginning of the Messianic Age or the end of days. Worthiness of women who began to be equal to men was a key issue in the video The Messianic Era is Upon Us. The Bible states in Genesis 3:16, "Unto the woman he said, I will greatly multiply thy pain in thy travail, in pain thou shalt bring forth children, and thy desire shall be to thy husband, and he shall rule over thee." The year 1928 had a major effect on women's status in countries such as the USA, Great Britain, and Canada. See Annex A2. By 1928, women began to join the process of ruling. They started to participate in electing and being elected for powerful ruling positions. Furthermore, they began to become an equal partner in heading the family by sharing the economic burden. The differences between men and women diminished. This, however, does not contradict the Torah. See Annex A3. In the United States, the main surge of women voting came in 1928. It was the Equal Franchise Act of 1928 when women finally achieved the same voting rights as men. In 1927, an appeal was made to the Supreme Court of Canada. Does the word persons in Section 24 of the British North America Act in 1867, does it include female as persons? In 1928, the Supreme Court of Canada answered no. However, by 1929, the answer was yes, women are persons. The moon versus the sun. Based on a Talmudic midrash, the sun and moon were created the same size, but the size of the moon was reduced by the master of the universe. Our sages taught that in the future, the moon's size will be equal to the sun. The basis for this understanding is found in Isaiah 30:26. It predicts that the size of the moon will be the same size of the sun. The midrash interprets Isaiah to be a metaphor that women will be equal to men. The ancient midrash is proven to be correct in terms of women's equality. Man the creator, in his eyes, is equal to the master of the universe, who creates something from nothing. The Hebrew year, which was defined as 1928, actually began on the 27th of September 1927. On the 6th of October, the first movie with a soundtrack premiered in New York City. On October the 18th, the first flight of the Pan American Airways takes off from Key West, Florida, bound for Havana, Cuba. On March 21st, Charles Lindbergh is presented the Medal of Honor for his first transatlantic flight. On June 17th, aviator Amelia Earhart starts her attempt to become the first woman to successfully use an aircraft to cross the Atlantic Ocean. On July 3rd, John Baird demonstrated the world's first color transmission. He beams a television image from England to the United States. GE introduces a television set with a 3-inch by 4-inch screen. The first television is sold by a Daven for $75. Alexander Fleming discovers penicillin. A pregnancy test is developed. In 1928, men entered a new era where new and exciting creations were changing the world from the way it was known for generations. The protagonists of Song of Songs are a woman and a man, and the poem suggests movement from courtship to consummation. In spite of the lack of explicitly religious content, Song of Song has often been interpreted as a parable of the relationship of the Master of the Universe and Israel, or for Christian, Christ and the Church, or Christ and the human soul, as a husband and wife. How easy is it to find short or long terms in a matrix? The longer the term, the odds against finding it in the matrix increase dramatically. It is difficult enough to find keywords in a matrix. It is impossible to find the keyword and extend it at the same skip from the front or at the back to suit anyone's agenda. The keyword that is extended must be at its shortest skip in the matrix. In the table to follow, note that many terms either have the skip of 80 or a multiple of 80. Most of them appear on the same vertical line. The table starts with the longest term, the odds. In this table of some of the terms that are found in the YouTube video, The Messianic Era is Upon Us, even the shortest term has 88 to 1 odds against being found in the matrix.